¿Ya comenzamos?
Sí.
All right. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. This is podcast número dos, podcast number 2. If y'all didn't listen to the first one, y'all missed out. I'm playing. This is go back and listen to it for sure. But yeah, this is our channel. I am Angel Valle, and this is Jose Luis Cruz Contreras, the host of this episode number 2.
Yeah, what's up, guys? How are you doing? I'm excited to talk about stuff with Angel.
Before we get into that, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you can get notified every single time we upload a new episode.
Yeah, so I was listening to the last podcast for a little bit.
A little bit. I listened to the whole thing like
Well, yeah, I
three
had to.
times.
I listened to everything because I am the one that edits everything. I didn't edit anything, but I listened to everything to make sure that everything's synced in and sounds good and looks good. But I realized that my English is not that good.
Apenas. No mames.
It's a pinche madre. What's going on?
Goddamn, 4 years later.
No wonder they always ask me, where are you from? Anyways, I learned something that
We
the
just
reason,
synced in Moco.
yeah, the
That's how in love we are.
yes. So I learned that me as Mexican, I have an accent because I want to speak English at the same speed that I see like right now, at the same speed that I speak Spanish. So I am going to try to speak slower to make sure that I pronounce everything the right way. Anyways, ¿de qué vamos a hablar hoy?
Oh, so we were actually sitting down. I was doing my makeup, and we're like, we should think about what we're gonna talk about instead of just talking out of our asses, right? So we're there, and I kept asking myself, even when I was like looking back at the last podcast, I was like, what makes us, Jose Luis and me, Angel, as individuals, not even as a couple, let's say as individuals, what makes us any different than any other podcaster, right? And then I literally dwelled on that because I was like, okay, we're posting the link here and there, Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram. And I see that a lot of people go to my profile before they even click on the link. Just for example, the first day I posted it on Instagram, which is the one that kind of breaks it down analytically. Is that the right way to say it?
Yeah.
Analysis of it. So I saw that I had like 100 and something more clicks to my profile than to the actual link the first time I posted it. And I was like, interesting, right? I wonder why. So then you go back to thinking about it. I have like 14K followers. God knows how I created that on Instagram. But most of those people don't know who I am as an individual person. So I was telling Jose Luis that, and he was like, dude, good question. I'm like, yeah, because there's shit ton of people on on YouTube talking about relationships, financials. I mean, Jose can listen to that stuff all day. And I'm like, okay, what makes us any different? So I was telling Jose Luis that it would be a really good idea to like break down who we are as individuals, not as a unit first. And then so y'all can get to know where Jose Luis's background is, because we don't know if all our viewers know us on a personal level or not. And then by granted, I mean, the people that wrote back and like were giving us feedback, they don't know me on a personal level. So I was just thinking like, that's interesting. A lot of people caught me on like 2 years of already doing YouTube, 3 years, or some people have been following me from way back when. They know a little bit more about my history, but they don't know much about this weird guy sitting right next to me. So.
Oh. Yeah,
they just know he came and saved the fucking day.
So she said for me to speak about my life because she wants a lot of, because she said that she has a lot of, well, actually most of her followers on everywhere are guys. I don't know why.
Oh my God. Shut up.
No, también el pinche nalga.
Enseña las
Anyways,
nalgas, babe.
So So I need to speak to those guys, okay? Number one, we're getting married.
That's not the point.
Oh, okay. So that was another point. Okay, she wants me to speak about my life. That way, some of y'all, or a lot of y'all, a lot of the Mexican community can be like, oh, he is Mexican? I didn't know that.
No manches. No manches.
So I'm going to speak about my
Upbringing.
my upbringings. I am from Guanajuato, Mexico, and that's a state near Mexico, Jalisco, Michoacan, right in the center of Mexico. Well, yeah, I was there till I was 10 years old in a little rancho, and I never knew that I was gonna come here to the United States until one day they just told us, "Hey, pack up because we're leaving." And I was like, "Wait, what? What's going on?" So we came here. I really don't remember a lot from, let's say, from 0 to 10.
No, but like, let's go back. Like, there's deeper stuff than that I think people can relate to you because they see like the real estate, they see like you do like business ventures, they see you're into the stock market. What they see is who you are now, but like you have a huge family history that goes way before the time that you set soil here in the US, and I think that that's where it makes you who you are now, and it makes you appreciate, because I could tell you this, I came into your life when you were what, 20?
5,
Yeah, around there.
4,
Yeah, 24.
26. No, 25.
25.
25. Yeah.
Okay, so like even then, like you weren't into like the stock market.
No.
Or none of that. So like there's been stuff that has led you to do that stuff, but I would say like mainly like you grew up with like your brothers and sisters. Y'all were 8 of y'all.
Oh yeah, I have 7 siblings.
8 including yourself. And then how many of them are girls? How many of
5
them
sisters, 2 brothers. I am the 5th one,
Yeah.
and then there's 3 younger than me.
And what was your like living situation when you were in Mexico?
When I was when I was in Mexico, my mom, my dad was over here in the United States. He was living in Somerset, Texas. It's like in the south of San Antonio. He was living there, working in a rancho, in the ranch, doing agriculture.
What kind of specific things was he doing?
He was doing taking care of cows, fixing fences. He was doing crops, picking. Picking.
Yeah.
He was picking strawberries, beans, greens, potatoes, tomatoes.
What would you say would be his salary at that time?
Oh, he was making $6 an hour. So he was on this side of the border, making money
he
to make
said
sure.
Border.
Border. And he was on this side. He was in the United States, and he was working at the rancho to make sure that he was able to provide for his 7 kids at the time, because there was only 7 of us.
Yeah. So at what age did he come over here?
I think I really don't know. I had never asked him this.
Oh God.
But by the time we got here, I think it was already 20 years. So he was here for like my whole life.
Oh really?
But yeah, so I think he came here whenever he was 18, I believe.
Okay.
But yeah, I remember that we used to talk to him, and we would be like, "When are you coming?" Blah blah. He would go to Mexico like twice a year, and that was like a really, really good time for us because we would get to see our dad. It was cool. But yeah, I don't remember like, we used to live in like a little small. It was 3-bedroom. 1 restroom.
Wait, that little house was
Yes.
a 3-bedroom? How? Dijo los real estaters aquí, do they have closets or windows? Because now that's not a room, that's a closet.
No, well, they knocked it down. By the time we went there, it was already
Okay.
different. But it was really small. Our kitchen was like an outdoor kitchen. It was like a porch, and yeah, like I don't know. It was really poor. I think it was compared to what I like.
And what y'all have now,
Yeah,
all of
well,
y'all
yes,
in conjunct, yeah.
it was bad. I remember that. I mean, we would get shoes probably like once a year. I do remember wearing shoes with holes on my toes.
Really?
I do remember that. I remember that. Like I don't remember a lot, but I do remember eating a lot of beans,
Yeah.
eggs, chorizo, tortas.
As a kid, do you feel like you lived a poor?
No,
No.
no. I feel like I had a really good childhood.
Yeah.
I wasn't sad as a child.
Yeah.
Never sad because we were always playing around outside. We would go. They would make us go buy tortillas. One time I remember that.
He hates talking about his past. This is Jose's coping mechanism. Give him a second.
Oh,
No lo miren, no lo miren, no lo miren. No lo miren, no lo miren.
okay, ready. Okay. I remember one time I went to go buy. No mames.
A ver, dime en el oído.
Oh, porque chinga. Why am I crying when I'm talking about tortillas? What the fuck?
Maybe because you still can't have them for different reasons.
Okay, anyways,
now.
I went to go buy tortillas, right? And then I remember they were like 10 pesos. 10 pesos was like, what, 50 cents? And it was like, I remember my mom would always tell me, go buy a kilo, which is half a pound. No, kilo, 2 pounds.
2.2 pounds.
Anyways, I went to go buy tortillas, right? And I don't know what happened, but I was playing around with a bag, like doing this. The fucking bag ripped, and all the fucking tortillas flew all over the place.
That instant fear that you feel.
And I'm pretty sure right now you're asking yourself, well, then why the fuck are you crying, right? Well, let me get there. Well, the tortillas fell. They're full of dirt. And then I remember going to my grandma, and then
No lo miren, no lo miren. This is why he didn't want to do this.
okay. Okay. Anyways, I went to my grandma. I told her, "Hey, grandma, se me quedaron the tortillas fell. My mom was gonna probably hit me. Now we don't have tortillas to eat." And then she gave me her tortillas.
Mama Chavez.
Oh,
No. I didn't meet Jose Luis's other grandma. So it was your daddy's grandma?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
No, my dad's mom. Well, I remember that. What else do I remember? I remember going to the cerro, which was the ¿cómo le llamas el cerro?
It's like a big hill.
Like a mountain.
Not a mountain. It's like a hill.
Like a
huge
hill where
like
the cerro, yeah, where you would go and herd the cows and the chivas, the goats. We would
I'm
do
over
that
here
with my grandpa.
I've
She
never
doesn't even
done
know
that.
what I'm talking about because she never did this. Anyways, but I remember all of that. I remember having horses, having a lot of sheep, having cows. I remember my grandpa milking the cows. I remember my grandpa. What else? Doing a lot of stuff that you do at a rancho. But no, I don't think I had a bad childhood. And probably if you compare that childhood to whatever Let's use Analia as an example. I think Analia has better things, a better lifestyle in a way, but I think my childhood was better. Uh,
Humble.
it was humble. So, for instance, whenever we were going through,
Oh, so like what you're saying is like Analia materialistically is in a better position, but like the memories you carry
yeah,
are good.
yeah, my
Yeah.
memories are way better. I think.
Did you go to Cuba? Did you go to Dominican Republic?
No, but
Not
but
me challenging your memories.
don't talk bad about my daughter. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, I had a bad childhood. That's why whenever we went through rough financial um, problems when we were doing all the real estate, her school, and everything, when you had to cut back on expenses and you had to cut back on what we were eating, I really didn't suffer because, like, it's like I've been there. For instance, I'm willing to lose everything. I don't care. I'll start from zero. I'm not scared to fail, which is I think, like I said, God does things for a reason, and maybe that's why He put me in those positions when I was a child. And I thank my parents and all my family, uh, and because I'm pretty sure sometimes they're like, I could have given my kid or my kids a better life, but in reality, all of that helped me out. I can't talk about my sisters or brothers. I'm just talking about myself, and that's why I'm not scared to fail anymore. Because then you start putting all the pieces of the puzzle together, and then you're like, okay, we're good.
That's good.
But yeah, I was crying because I remember my grandma. That's why.
Yeah. Let's see. What?
Not because of the tortillas. Next.
No, okay, so like then what at what age did you come here? And like how did you come here? What was like the situation that led
Well,
you to be here? Like who brought you? Was it did you come in as a resident? What led your situation here?
no, I'm just talking from what I remember because I was 10 years old, so I really don't remember a lot. I just remember, I guess, key points. But I do remember that one time, they told us we gotta go to Ciudad Juarez. That's where you go and they do medical exams and they do the interviews and everything. That's where you gotta pay everything, I think. Uh, and I remember we would like my dad he had a F-250 for 86, 85, and he had a camper, so we had to drive from Guanajuato all the way to Ciudad Juarez, which is how far is it?
Guanajuato, Ciudad
Sí,
Juárez.
check lo que sigo hablando. All right. Well, we had to drive all the way over there, right? And he would put the boys in the back in the camper. It was hot as fuck, and
It's 17 hours.
was 17
20
hours,
minutes.
and he would put all my sisters in the front with them with the AC. Uh, that was not a good memory, but but it happened, right? So we had to drive all the way over there. We got there. I think we got two rooms at a hotel, and I'm pretty sure it was a really cheap hotel. Why? Because my dad was trying to pay for all the visas, which was I think it was called Visa V, and that's the first visa you gotta get before you can get the residency. Um, so he had to pay for all of that, and I remember laying like on the floor, and my parents on the bed, of course, and I don't remember all of that. Anyways, we got here we had to go back to finish our school year, and then I was still 9 at the time. When I turned 10, when the year was over, they brought us to Eagle Pass. We stayed in Eagle Pass with some of my mom's part of the family. We were there for the summer, and then after that, like they brought us to Somerset, and that's where I started going to school to Somerset Elementary, and yeah, that's how we crossed the border with a visa.
So, thinking back at like that situation, your dad brought back how many kids with a legal visa,
Oh, he brought seven of us, and
including your mom?
including my mom.
So eight.
Eight, yeah, eight of us. My mom and seven kids, and my mom was pregnant at the time.
Oh, that
Uh,
y'all were gonna come over
yes.
here?
So whenever we got here, I think we got here in June. I think I can ask my mom, but I think it was in June, and in July, my little sister Luz was born,
Oh, wow.
and she was born in Eagle Pass. And then I remember that this I do remember this that and my when I turned 10, which was August 11th, that's when we moved to Somerset, and we moved to it was um, a barn where my dad used to live with all the workers that used to work at the ranch. So I this is I now I'm starting to remember things. So he never brought us to the rancho because he was setting everything up, and he was telling his boss, "Hey, I'm gonna bring my family. Don't worry, you're not going to need any more workers because I have seven of them."
That's a picture about it.
So whenever we got there,
He said, "Vara, vara, vara."
they got rid of all the workers that were working at the rancho, at the ranch. So once we got there, we started working at the ranch with my dad. I was getting paid $3 an hour, and yeah, I hate
At age 10?
at age 10.
Wow.
And then I remember that my dad would be working on the fields on the tractor, and I would just sit right, like on the side of the field. Just I was just watching him working on the tractor, because when you come from a rancho and then you used to seeing horses and tractors here and there, like it was rare to see a tractor. And then I moved over here, and I was I got to see my dad working on a tractor, and then I was like, oh wow, now I have my dad. And then I remember that he saw me. He was like, "Hey, vente." So he got me on the tractor, and he started showing me how to drive the tractor. And it was, I mean, it was manual.
Manual.
So you had to do all those things with a clutch and everything. So I started learning all of that at 10. Yeah, we were working on the fields.
So, like, now as an adult, right, and like a head of a household yourself, how do you think, or how can you appreciate, is better wording, the struggles your dad that you didn't see on the background to bring a whole family over here?
Well, I understand it. Well, a lot of people would be like, I see everything that once you start learning about human behavior, you start learning why people do things, how people react, and then you start understanding why everything happened. Um, but I don't I don't hold any grudges to my dad for not being. Well, he was in my life, yeah, because he was providing for me, but he wasn't there like
Like present.
present every
Yeah.
day. Uh, but I'm okay with it. Why? Because it all worked out. Um, because I know that he was providing for his kids, and without him, we wouldn't be here. Um, but yeah, he showed me that. I mean, he could have just been like, "Nah, they're in Mexico. I'm over here. Fuck it.
Yeah.
I can just go find myself another lady and make another family here in the United States."
Yeah.
Why am I saying that? Because I've seen it. I've seen people do that. And yeah, like I respect my dad for that, because he ¿cómo se dice? Um, he manned up. He was like, those are my responsibilities, because he had a lot of responsibilities, right?
A lot.
And he was like, I'm gonna make sure that I bring all of them over here with me,
Yeah.
and I respect that. And now I see that, right? Like me as a man, I'm like, well, I gotta be responsible for my fiance and my daughter, my dog. So we can always find a way to pull it out.
Yeah.
See?
Pull through is a
Oh,
better.
pull through,
Don't pull out.
not pull it out.
I'm
Next
done.
question.
So my thing, like now that you're saying that, how like your dad was here for a lot of like your childhood, it's kind of crazy to me seeing you from like the other half, like not even half. I've only been here for like what, like 10% of that. So even at that, like to say that and to see the man that you've become, I can appreciate how, or like try to understand how you became even a man, like who you are today, even though you didn't have your dad present. Because I feel like even in today's society, and I'm not talking about your situation now, I'm just talking in general. In today's society, when men, let's say, gear off road, right? I'm talking about drugs. I'm talking about abuse, whether it's to their wives or their kids, or alcoholism, or not wanting to work, laziness, or stuff like that. They're just like, well, I didn't see it in my household. So going into that type of like socializing that, right, and like making it a norm, and then here comes this person that like you see comes through all these struggles, and they're like, well, he didn't have his father, you know. And you're telling us that you don't understand, or you didn't see that your dad wasn't not involved right presently, but you see it now as an adult. But at that time, like you didn't gear to off road. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying. Like you never in your life have you been like an alcoholic. To this day, I have not known for you to beat a woman. Well, I mean, you have your drinks here and there, but like not an alcoholic. Like, you for sure don't do drugs, and like you don't beat women or your kids. Like it's just, it's admiring to see. I could say for the least, yeah. Well, it is. It's the
No,
truth.
yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Like when you see when people go to jail or like whatever, they start selling drugs or whatever, you know, like they do the real worldly thing to get easy money, and the easy way is like, well, the statistics say they had a single mom household, like
Yeah, well,
father wasn't present, and it's like social, they have normalized that, and it's like, no, you could still be a good person and not have your father present.
yeah, that is possible. And I mean, also, I mean, I still had my grandpa. Uh, no, like I don't know.
You had a father figure
Yes,
nonetheless, yeah.
and I mean, and I think it helped out that half of my life I was,
And you had Imelda.
yeah, and I have a mom. Yeah, my mom's really was really strict with us as well, everybody, my sisters and me. And I don't know. I guess I am really respectful of my parents. I don't disrespect my parents. I don't disrespect my sisters. I don't disrespect my brothers. Um, like I don't know, and it's crazy because not everybody can say that of my sister because I have some really disrespectful sisters sometimes. But it's probably because they're older than me, and they see me as a, because in a way they were raising me as well.
Oh,
Because
okay, yeah.
what I'm there's two, dos, cuatro. Yeah, by the time I was born, my older sister was 8,
Oh, wow.
and then my
Lupe.
second sister was 6. So in a way, they were taking care of everybody, like the younger ones, because we all beat each other by 2 years. So, so yeah, that's
So
that.
your mom had a kid every 2 years.
Yes.
Wow.
So, yeah, I think that's why. But no, like it helped me out that I was raised have, well, 10 years of my life in Mexico. I got to see all the rancho stuff. I got to live the humble life, and then I got here. I also live a humble life here till I was what, 18, 17, when I moved out to go to a trade school, and and then after that I started learning about, mm, not money, but I started learning how to do my trade. And then I noticed that it was easy for me, and I noticed that I was gonna be able to make a lot of money. So that's why I don't know. I'm always patient. I'm not really patient person, and maybe that's why I never thought about selling drugs, or and it was probably because I had a lot of fear about dying at the time. Now I'm not scared of dying.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I remember when I was a little boy, I would start thinking about death, and I would
Like,
start crying,
oh, okay, okay.
and I would start thinking like, now what's gonna happen after this? And I would start crying, right? So when I would watch movies and I would see that people that sold drugs die, I was like, no, that's not gonna be me. So I was like, no, there's other ways to make money.
So, like, when you came here, when did you? Because you didn't come learning English. You
No,
barely know English now.
yeah, I know that's crazy, and it probably I probably still have an accent because I have a lot of Spanish speaking friends, which is good and bad for my English. Um, but I also have a lot of English only speaking friends,
Yeah.
or only English speaking
Yeah.
friends. Uh, like I can be around nothing but white people. I have no problem doing that.
Yeah. You're very socially accepted.
And they understand me.
Muy a huevo.
But yeah, I mean, I experienced racism by Mexicans or Chicanos at school. I remember when I first got there, and there was an ESL class. One of the guys were sitting, like, let's say I was sitting here in front. There was a guy sitting on this side, and another one on the front. That guy was sitting in the front of me. That kid at the time, and then he blocked me from all three of them, and he left me alone. And he was like, "We're not working with you." When I first got here, it was my first day of class,
No way.
but like I was humble. I was, okay, cool. I was like, okay, and I started working on myself, like on whatever the teacher had us do, right? Had us doing. Um, I experienced that. Then later on, that guy became one of my best friends.
So you experienced that as a 10-year-old.
Yeah, but it was normal to me, like whatever.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you carry it in your heart, so it must not be normal.
Like, well, those are like little experiences that teach you stuff, right? What else? I remember in high school, people would call me or call us the Mexican guys, the Spanish people, or the Mexicans or whatever, right? And they will tell us speak English or whatever, but I never cared, like whatever. Now I'm making more money than them.
Stop. It was in your Hecho
And
en
they're
Mexico
still in
belt.
Somerset, huh?
It was in your Hecho en Mexico belt.
Oh yeah, yeah. I was real Mexican back then.
Jose Luis sent me a picture one time, right? And he's like, look, babe, this was me when I was in my prime. And he sends me a picture of him in a bicycle, and he has a huge Hecho en Mexico belt. I'm like, bro.
I used to have, I had an era, a cholo era, and I remember I bought these pants, a pair of pants that were saggy, like real saggy,
Yeah.
real big, and they had the Virgen of Guadalupe.
Stop. Stop. No.
Yeah, my mom threw them away.
Were you sagging?
Yep.
You
And I would
sagging?
remember la canción, la de I lean like a cholo.
Stop. I cannot.
It was around that time. But yeah, next question.
Dang, I can't get over your Virgen Guadalupe pants.
Yeah, she threw them away.
So that's crazy that you say that and now you won't even go to Corona here.
No, I do go to Corona, but I don't like certain individuals. I don't know. I can say a lot of stuff, but
Yeah. Do you still think that you
I'm trying to get to for people to like me now. This, well, that's why.
no, 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 no.
Well, that's why I get mad when people, when a lot of people push for illegal immigration, because my dad worked a lot to get
Oh,
seven, like eight people,
illegal
um,
immigration.
8 of us here illegally. So that means that he had to wait in line for a turn, and he was able to save the money. He was able to work,
Making $6
making
an hour.
sick. And no, at that time it was probably like $5 or $4 an hour, and he was doing work, hard labor. So if my dad can was able to do it, I'm pretty sure a lot of people can. A lot more people can do it as well. Another thing is that thanks to a lot of those illegal, thanks to a lot of those illegals that are coming to this country now, the right way to do it, or the right procedure that they have at the moment,
The right process.
the process that they have at the moment for people that are trying to come here legally, it's all clogged up
It's rigorous now.
because they're too busy trying to manage the illegal people. But that's
A whole other topic.
yeah,
But I could appreciate and see why you don't take lightly when people push for
yeah,
coming here illegally when you had a father that did so much
yes,
to bring you here. So I think if I could appreciate that, I know the world can appreciate that. So especially bringing a family of 8, including your like 7, and then your mom. So 8 in total. So now as an adult, like, what do you think when you look back at that? Like, what do you reflect on the most?
about what?
Like, just like how can you say that that lifestyle, your upbringings have reflected who you are now?
Oh well,
Like, as a father, as wanting to get married, wanting to strive for better, how do you think that influences you?
in a lot of different ways. Like, well, first, like, I'm not, like I said, I'm not scared to lose anything.
Mm-hmm.
That's one. Two, like, I'm willing to work my ass off. Why? Because I've done it for a long time. And if I did it once, I can do it twice. Uh, it taught me how to be responsible. Well, my dad taught me how to be responsible. Just for the simple fact, like, we go back to the same thing. He was here, the United States, and he was taking care of all his kids and wife that were in Mexico for what, 20 years? No, 18 years.
Mm-hmm.
So if he was able to do that, that means he was being responsible. So I gotta make sure that I am the same or better than my dad in that aspect. Uh, what else?
Look at you now, half naked on my shirt. Eres una inspiración, babe, tan siquiera para mí.
Yeah. What else? It showed me hard work. I already said that. I can be. I mean, I am humble sometimes. It all depends on the situation. Uh, it makes me understand people. It makes me understand that not everybody's at the same level. That's when I start being humble. Now, if somebody comes in the room and they start being all conceited and stuff like that, I don't
Or
like that.
belittling you.
Or belittle not just me or other people. I like to go there and show them that they're not the only ones that can make money. And yeah, like, I don't know, I've learned so much stuff throughout my life, and it makes me sad, but it makes me happy at the same time, because if my dad was able to do it, if I'm able to do the stuff that I'm doing, and then that means everybody else can do it as well, because I'm pretty sure that there's a lot of people that are listening to me right now that are in a better position than me financially, but they don't know it. Um, and they can probably do stuff. They're just scared to do it, or they're scared of death, or
Or like from my situation, like, well, my perspective, like when I wanted to bring up this whole like Jose Luis being vulnerable, not just because a lot of people that follow me or that are on our social media streams don't really know Jose Luis's background. There's a lot more that we can go into, like his teens, his dating life. He had a huge issue in his dating life that we can one day go into more relationship wise. But that has kind of made him who he is now and like his dating history. But just in general, we hit a lot of topics here. I would say, like we talked about immigration. We talked about you living in a household where your dad was semi-present, we can at least say.
mm-hmm.
And then we talked about, like I said, immigration. Like you came here legally. The struggles about living with a single parent household, and I mean financially, the way you still hold close to your heart good memories, like the tortillas and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
those aren't tears of sadness; they're just
No,
joy.
it just makes me happy to remember that because, I mean, I started remembering like, well, my grandma used to live right next to us, so I do remember when we used to go there, like, um, and tortillas. No, like, we would go over to go eat. My mom was, I mean, also my mom got a lot of respect to my mom for being faithful, and she never lost the faith or the hope that my dad was gonna bring her over here, or that
Yeah.
my like she never lost faith in my dad. So um I mean, what else can I say? I guess, and let's go back to this, right? My dad always told me, before you get married, you have to have a house to bring your wife, or espérame, and your kids, and then after that he told me, and then after that you can get married. Once you get married, you can have kids. And I mean, I've been following. I've been following that plan. Well, of course, I was already living with Asia without being
Llegó con
married,
su mueble.
right? But I think that I was well. Now following that plan, we're gonna get married pretty soon. We're planning all of that already. We still don't have kids. Um, we have an Aliyah, but we still haven't had kids, like of my own. Why? Because I'm still following that plan. And we go back to the same thing. On the last podcast, I was saying that I cannot ask Angel for a kid if I'm not married to her. Why? Because she deserves to be married to a man, and I deserve to give my kids a good example. Like I said, my parents stay together, so that means that once I get married, that's it. I'm not going to divorce. I'm not going to cheat or any of that. Why? Because my parents showed me that. So that's where I get all of my lessons from. Uh, and yeah, now I have a house. We're engaged. We're gonna get married, and after that, we can start talking about kids. But like I said, always go back and check with your partner and ask her, well, what are your goals, and make sure that everything aligns together. And if not, I mean, there's always a way. If God, well, I mean, I know that God is always on our side. Um, and I mean, there's a lot of more things that I can talk about my dad and my mom, but we can talk about it other day and another day.
Yeah, we're not touching my subject till next time when I don't have my makeup done.
Yeah.
We're actually gonna be taking engagement pictures
Today.
so which is why my face looks crazy right now. But yeah, we had to do a podcast before we did all of that, and I thought it would be a really good idea. I feel like Jose was a really closed off person until he started getting close to God. So I can't go any further in this podcast and not thank God for who Jose Luis is now. And because this conversation, I could guarantee you, would have never happened with the world, right? Because YouTube is going to be for the world to see. And first of all, babe, thank you for sharing. Before I go any further, thank you for sharing. Some I don't I think that your vulnerability is amazing, and it takes a lot out of a man to be vulnerable, because their instinct is to protect, right? Automatically protect and look and feel and represent the strongness. And I don't think that you look weak just because
Oh
you're
no,
crying. Like, I think that's important to
no.
say.
I'm pretty sure there's a lot of guys that are watching this right now, and they're thinking about the fact that well, if you're Mexican, of course, there's other, but well, I'm Mexican. I'm talking to Mexican people. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of y'all that need to get feelings out. I'm pretty sure that y'all need to communicate something to your dad or your mom, and you haven't done it because you don't know how. And this is your chance. Go and tell them I love you, at least, because a lot of people don't get and I love you from their parents, or you don't say that to your parents.
Or it's not like normal in your
Yeah.
family when you come from a family that's like kind of closed off, and that's very common in Mexican households. I can't speak for any other culture or ethnicity, but I could speak because we're both very, very Mexican, or at least from Mexican households. And our parents can be kind of
Cold.
on the colder side. Like a
But
hug feels
but I mean,
different.
we go to. Well, I mean, like we've been learning that you have to also take into a consideration that your parents are also humans, and they grew up with you. Um, they didn't know how to be parents. They were learning as they were going. So maybe their parents never told them, or they were never um, loving
Affectionate,
or
yeah.
affectionate
Yeah.
towards them. So that's where it comes from. But it's our duty to make sure that those generational curses end, and make sure that our kids are better
Yeah.
with their kids, and then those kids are better than they are. Yeah. Así se va para allá y para allá.
And then lastly but not least, I just wanted to say, like, it was an interesting topic for me because when you look at Jose Luis's timeline or history, where his upbringings came from, I believe that people can sit down and somewhere in their heart be like, well, I might not have had such, because I can tell you right now boldly that I did not live in a rancho. My parents did not make little money. My parents, when I was born, already had their businesses. They probably before us had difficulties. My dad was illegal at some point, but was already legal by the time he married my mom. So did I see those sufferings? No. Not the way Jose Luis experienced them, at least. They were a little bit more well off financially. So I can appreciate his story and say that I could look at his story and say if he and his family can do that, like, anybody can.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's just grabbing your wits and pulling them by the strings and just getting shit done. Honestly, like, that was one determined man, and I'm talking about my soon to be father in law, and one faithful and very hopeful woman, which is my mother in law. And then, like, I can't even imagine coming into this country and not knowing English. And there's still people out there that can relate to you, that they're listening to this podcast and they're like, no hablan español, que no mamen, digan cosas en español.
No, I'm gonna start my own podcast later. Well, I'm gonna start it on
Well,
my
you
own
have
channel.
a buenas raíces en español también.
I talk about finances, dinero, feria, en español en mi canal.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm gonna say it in English and then Spanish. So I am gonna start my podcast, and there I'm gonna be bringing people that have uh, impacted my life in a good way, and probably some later on I'll probably bring somebody that impacted my life in a bad way, and I'll tell them straight up to their face in a respectful way. Maybe I don't know, and maybe you can grow together there, right? But anyways, I'm gonna be doing it in Spanish, everything in Spanish. Voy a tener en mi canal un podcast que voy a hacer todo en español. Voy a hablar de finanzas y de personas que han afectado mi vida en una forma positiva. A lo mejor traigo a gente que me ha afectado en una forma negativa y ahí podemos crecer como personas porque es muy importante que tú como persona le digas lo que sientes a otra persona y así pueden crecer juntos. Porque muchas veces hacemos un problema más grande de lo que es y hablando se entiende la gente. Um, yeah, so if you want to go and check out my channel, I'm under Jose Luis Cruz Contreras. Simple, Jose Luis Cruz Contreras. You're gonna find me there.
Yeah, because who else has a long ass name?
Yeah, and then eventually I'll change my name on my channel. But
Also, guys, we've been thinking about what should we name our podcast. We haven't really found a niche. I know most of y'all, our topics have been like relationship was our first one and the struggles that we've gone through and how we got to know each other, values. For episode 1, this one was diving into Jose Luis's understanding and upbringings. I already know that you already know that episode 3 might be about my upbringing, so stay tuned for that.
yeah,
But we're trying to find a podcast name, and I've been trying to get creative and like add like a tinge of Spanish and then still English. So if y'all could give us any ideas, we would love that.
yeah, and I don't know. I mean, we're doing this one in English because I remember some people would be like, "Can y'all do it in English, or do y'all have a video in English?"
Yeah.
So if we can do Angel's this podcast and her channel in English, that would be perfect. Well, hers would be more English and Spanglish.
Yeah, we go back and forth.
And then mine is completely in Spanish. Then we can do that. That way we can all work together and help each other out. Because there is a lot of people that only speak Spanish, and how am I expecting for them to be successful if they don't have the information in Spanish?
Good point.
But also we have to remember this. I dislike people that come to this country and they don't want to learn the language. That is really bad. Why? Because you have to remember that this is a different country, and there's more English speaking people, and we gotta be respectful as well for this country. Why? Because they're giving you the chance to be successful, and you're here for a reason.
Yeah, guys, we just came back from Cuba and humbled us. I can definitely say that we are very fortunate in the United States to have the things that we have.
Yeah, how is it that Cubans know English and a lot of Mexicans that are here
Oh,
don't?
for real, though. They know very good English without an accent. I was like, oh my God.
Better English than mine.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, but yeah, I think we're going to close. Are you good to close off?
Yeah, que le den likes. If you're from the rancho, give it a like.
Yeah.
Thumbs up.
If y'all would like to share y'all story with us, that'd be
Yeah.
amazing too, because we love to hear people's upbringings and how they got here or what struggles they went through and how they have projected. I know a lot of people hold anger in their heart because of stuff that they've been through, and let me tell you, it is your time to just let go and release and
Yeah.
accept God, as cliche as that sounds. I'm pretty sure that many people that are viewing can have upbringings that they still have anger held close, and it's this is liberating. Talk about it. Write us. Let us know what you went through. And I feel like sometimes just telling someone like, hey, thank you for sharing, like we were at our church group. We have a marriage church group that we go to, and it's all married couples. And we were talking about, like I said this in our last podcast, mine and Jose Luis's upbringings were in Catholic households, deep rooted Catholic households. So like we were talking about our life maps in church group, and I was telling them, like, would we have been sitting in a room full of Catholics, they would have been like, you did what? Like,
Yeah.
How did you have the courage to share that with a bunch of strangers? But you go into a Christian church group and they're like, thank you for sharing, and you're like, what the fuck? You're not gonna ridicule me, like you're not gonna judge me. And I'm not talking down on Catholics. All I'm saying is that it's different. Like, know how to be a good listener without judgment. It doesn't have to do with, and I think that's because we practice, I want to say this, you practice culture more than you do religion. You can always be a good person, no matter like what culture you attach to it. Just religion is having a relationship with God. And if you have a relationship with God and you can liberate yourself from a lot of things, liberate yourself from your own story, literally, before you can go and tell the world how to liberate their own story, which is why I wanted to present this story of both of us, is how are we supposed to liberate people from what they're doing if y'all can't relate to us, if we haven't liberated our own story. This is us liberating us from our own story, and putting it out to the world is very scary. I could say this because in the past I used to always be like, I don't want to say that, Jose, cut that out, right? And obviously this podcast is not cut out, it's just going straight through. But back then I used to be like, oh no, my daughter overspoke or did this, and I don't want that to be out in the world, and why? Because it comes from a perspective and a interjudgment that you feel, or that you're going to be judged, that you're going to be ridiculed, that you're going to be neglected. Neglect is like the worst feeling in the world. Like joked upon or whatever, la hermana, so like just liberate yourself from all of that and just know that this is something very, very vulnerable that we're doing, and it's okay to do that yourself. Liberate yourself from your own story. Honestly, it's the best thing you could do. And I hope y'all can relate. Like, I can't relate to a lot of the stuff that Jose Luis went through, but I can relate to little sections here and there and say like the minimum I can do is appreciate his story and say like, I didn't go through that, but I could appreciate who you are now as a person, knowing that that's what you went through.
Thank you.
I love you always. So
pues ya es todo, ¿no? Que me
yeah,
estoy cagando.
no. And I gotta go do my hair. We literally have photos in like an hour, guys. So we love y'all. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button. Before we go, I want to tell y'all we love y'all so much for all the support we've been getting back. If y'all have never posted anything on YouTube, it is so difficult to get views, likes, people to give feedback. And the amount of love we felt coming this way is honoring, honestly, to say the least.
Yeah, I'll put it this way. If I always say this on my channel, if I can change at least one person's life, or if I provided value to one person's life, then I already met my goal for each video. So yeah, if you think we helped you, or we motivated you, or we gave you some value, just subscribe. We would really appreciate that. Or give it a like. Just give it a like.
Yeah.
That helps the algorithm a lot.
Yeah. All right, guys. Thank you. Till the next one.
Laters. Bye.
Bye.